A number of friends who know me relatively well and watch these videos said, yeah, we get it. But when are you going to do that one? So this is that one. Did you know that in just 54 short stories and 4 novels, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle created his masterpiece, Sherlock Holmes?
My mind rebels at stagnation. Give me problems. Give me work. Give me the most abstruse cryptogram, the most intricate analysis, and I'm in my proper atmosphere.
It always annoyed me how in the old-fashioned detective story, the detective always seemed to get at his results either by some sort of lucky chance or a fluke, or else it was quite unexplained how he got there. I began to think of turning scientific methods, as it were, onto the work of detection. I thought of 100 little dodges, as you may say, 100 little touches by which he could build up his conclusions, and then I began to write stories on those lines. At first, I think they attracted very little attention, but after time, when I began the short adventures, one after the other, coming out month after month in the Strand magazine, and from that time, Sherlock Holmes fairly took root.
Conan Doyle was very pleased with his creation, but he felt, certainly from halfway through the first series of short stories, that the Holmes stories were hack work. They brought in the money. What he really wanted to do was to write stories of chivalry, of daring-do. This is the sort of thing that he thought was really important.
So in the end, in desperation, Conan Doyle killed off his troublesome detective. The readers were devastated.
The publisher, the editor, and the author received angry letters from readers. Conan Doyle gleefully quotes one in his autobiography from a lady. It began, "You brute."
Enter William Hooker Gillette, American actor, manager, playwright. He wants to play Sherlock Holmes on stage. "Sure," says Sir Arthur. "As a matter of fact, I've got a play here, William, old boy." "And thanks," says Gillette. "I'll rewrite it. But of course, respectfully, I'll get advice from you." So Gillette says, "Can I marry Holmes off?" "You can marry him, murder him, or do anything you like to him." Gillette had a major success with Holmes. He played him 1,300 times in his career. Now, thank goodness one of the performances was recorded on disc, because when a silent film of the play was discovered in 2004, it allowed us to sync up the disc and the film and get a glimpse of the great man.
Where the deuce is your second waistcoat button, and what the deuce is yesterday's boot on your head doing in today's lapel, and why the deuce do you wear the expression of a boiled alligator? Marvelous, marvelous. Elementary, my dear fellow, elementary.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's dismissive attitude to the development of his character was the best thing that ever happened to Sherlock Holmes. From the illustrations of Sidney Paget through the involvement of William Gillette to the present day, Holmes has continued to evolve.
A client, Watson. Where? The widow standing under the street lamp. A widow? Would you like to bet on that? Of course.
What a lovely morning, Holmes.
There's an east wind coming, Watson.
No, I don't think so. Looks like another warm day.
Good old Watson. The one fixed point in a changing age.
As I expected. Looks like a thorn. It is a thorn. Duh. Have a care, fellow. It's deadly. Poisoned. Feel his arm.
When the readership of the Strand magazine protested Holmes' death at the Reichenbach Falls, it's as if people said, "You can't do that to him. He belongs to us now, Mr. Doyle, not you. And we want him alive." The result is that over a century later, Holmes isn't totally owned and run by one multimedia corporation. But isn't it fascinating that no matter what form he takes, he's still Sherlock Holmes?
It's so incredible, the way that you solve people just by looking at them. I notice you don't have any mirrors around here.
What's that supposed to mean?
Meanwhile, thanks to the generous model laid down by Doyle, go and do what you like, my boy. People feel free to interpret Holmes as they wish, but I think creators need to be aware. They need to have a sense of responsibility that they should tread lightly. Now, is this polite enough, or should I just say some of the stuff is just...
Starting to believe?
Watson, who's going to take the photograph?
I will take it. You see, it's sort of a self-photograph.
He's a real fan.
I swear, I never do this.
Hey, girl! Hey, girl!
In his reference book, Sherlock Holmes on Screens, my friend Howard Ostrom offers us 1,500, that's 1,500 appearances on film, TV, and now the internet. At any one time, there are dozens of Holmes stories being shot for television and film all over the world. So far, there are 7,500 actors who've played Holmes and Watson, and that list is growing every day. And new writers bring new angles on Holmes and Watson.
Hi, my name is Brittany Cavallero. I'm the author of A Study in Sherlock.
James Watson, we'd like to ask you some questions.
Our killer didn't leave anything up to chance. He used at least 2 methods of poison, maybe 3.
I had a novel to add to the shelves of all those libraries out there, and sat down and wrote The Beekeeper's Apprentice.
I think that my experience writing Foyle's War might have helped, much more so than Midsummer Murders, which was really just a bit of fun.
Sherlock is a genius, literally, at understanding the facts and relating them in a way that he figures out what's going on.
Sherlock Holmes is big business. Souvenir shops flourish and museums selling ephemera and toys for girls and boys of all ages.
And there is Mr. Sherlock.
It's appalling! And the smell! But what could have happened here?
Stay calm, Watson. Take note of every detail and be careful not to move anything.
Very well, Holmes.
We don't know a thing about each other. I don't know where we're meeting. I don't even know your name.
I know you're an army doctor and you've been invalided home from Afghanistan. I know you've got a brother who's worried about you, but you won't go to him for help because you don't approve of him, possibly because he's an alcoholic, more likely because he recently walked out on his wife. And I know that your therapist thinks you're limp psychosomatic, quite correctly, I'm afraid. It's enough to be going on with, don't you think? The name's Sherlock Holmes and the address is 221B Baker Street. Afternoon.
Sherlock is international. He has what people these days call a multi-platform presence. Books, magazines, advertising, feature films, radio and TV series, comic books, games, toys, fan fiction.
What's this? Lightsaber? Seems our dearly departed captain was a Jedi. The game is afoot.
And some of that fan fiction was so good it puts professionals to shame.
I'm Dracula.
Well, you can't just have him say, I am Dracula.
Then how do people know it's Dracula?
Well, you can show instead of tell. So, like, when they start fighting, I was gonna have Dracula be really good at the lightsaber, and that's how you know that he's a Sith.
What do you see, Holmes?
Sir Henry is eating his dinner with Stapleton, but I can't see his wife anywhere.
Take the scum. Go after him. Go.
Here we go. Quick, Watson. Are you all right, sir?
I'm fine.
And so here we are in Baker Street. Nice, isn't it? With a roaring fire, horses in the street outside. This is, my friends, a YouTube ambience. Goes on like this for 4 hours. Little did Sir Arthur Conan Doyle know he was creating white noise. In one of the original Conan Doyle short stories, The Greek Interpreter, Holmes's brother Mycroft meets Dr. Watson, and he says, you know, since you started writing these stories and publishing them,
I hear of Sherlock everywhere.
Everywhere? Brother Mycroft had no idea.
Must surely be the genius of his day. When people finish speaking of him, they haven't a thing to say.
And one day he will take his place in history's favourite tomes, the one and only Sherlock Holmes. The egotistical, slightly mystical, incorruptible, indestructible one and only Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes.
Now, if you want more information on Sherlock Holmes, here's a good internet site to visit for starters. It's pretty comprehensive, Sherlockian.net. On Facebook, for reliable information on all things Holmes, join Howard Ostrom's page, Sherlock Holmes on Screens. And finally, most of my little videos from over the last few months can be found on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.